Today we're going to be making my version of Nilagang Baboy. It's kind of a pork stew and I've Americanized it somewhat. The first thing you're going to want to do is gather your ingredients. It's all very simple. It is a meat and vegetable dish. The prep is so important in anything you're cooking. The mise en place, or as we called it in our kitchen, prep. Everything is done and set as needed. So when you start cooking, everything's where you need it. The vegetables are just kind of rough cut, farmer's cut, whatever you want to call them, large dice. The pork is diced and rolled in flour. You put 3 tablespoons of oil in a pan, set the pork in, do not stir. You want to brown that flour. You use tongs to turn it to brown each side. This is not a Filipino style, but it's something I like to do. The Chinese do it a lot, so I'm not sure why it hasn't caught on here. Generally, they would either fry it in oil or just simply boil it. When the meat is browned on all sides, it will not be cooked yet, but just brown it, pull it out of the pan, set it aside, and you're going to deglaze the pan. You put in your little bit of red wine. It will get in there and loosen up all the gunk. You stir it for a few seconds, 20, 30 seconds, you get all the gunk loosened up. Then you'll add in all your chopped onions, bell pepper, and minced garlic. We're going to cook that until, however you like them done. I like to get the onions just to kind of sweat a little. When you're happy with your onions and peppers, we're going to go ahead and put the meat and liquid into the pan. I am using beef stock for this because I found some at the grocery store. Remember, grocery shopping is a treasure hunt. You probably have to add a little water to it as well, unless you get enough beef stock. I should have shown more of this squash, the Oppo squash. It's a real light summer squash. Just use a vegetable peeler to peel it, chop it, cut the seeds out. It's more like a melon consistency than some of the harder squashes. So it will cook very quickly. That's why it's in the bowl with the cabbage. Generally it'd go in about with the potatoes or just a few minutes after. But this is going to cook very quickly. Just leave the meat and all the onions and peppers. Boil that until the meat is almost done. It's probably going to be 20 minutes. It would take longer if we hadn't already done partial cooking with the browning. I add in the spice kind of whenever. These spices don't matter. Others need more time, the dried spices and stuff. This is just basic, onion, pepper. It's like I said, it's a very basic recipe. It's a really good soup because it is so plain. It's just the meat and potatoes. I just added in the potatoes and carrots. They're going to need to boil 10 or 15 minutes until they're done, and by that time the meat will be more than completely cooked. The boiling does help tenderize the meat because the meat here tends to be tough. Add in the cabbage and the squash. Again, if it was a harder squash, you would add it in a few minutes before the cabbage. You can't really stir it in because that dry cabbage just sits there. It's stiff. So you kind of poke it down into the hot water. If you have a lid, you could cover it to kind of steam it, but it'll be enough. It'll soften. You do this 3 to 5 minutes. You don't want to really overdo that. If you have it for leftovers, everything's going to be a little mushier, but that's not bad either. My biggest problem with this recipe is trying to keep it simple. I would add in some vinegar. I would put some cornstarch to thicken it. I would be making it not nilaga. So I'm trying to keep it simple, a simple stew. A lot of the recipes don't call for the squash at all. Some call for no addition, or they'll put in jackfruit or plantain. It's regional differences, family differences, but it's a basic, just a watery meat, cabbage, potato, light soup, and it's really nice. I carefully got a piece of everything to taste. And we're going to see how this is. It's looking pretty good. I made sure to get some of that broth. And we're going to eat. So let's eat. Be careful. I think it's hot. You'll see. Oh yes, it's burning my mouth. Oh, it's hot. That's my own fault for being stupid. But this stuff turned out good. I like it. I like it.
Not too shabby.
So a very nice basic recipe, good soup, easy to cook, fast and delicious. Enjoy your day in paradise.